You have been stuck, tired, and depressed recently. It may not be an emotional problem, but a quantum circuit in your body is collapsing. We have been taught since childhood. The body is a physiological structure, muscles, bones, nerves, and it works like a machine. But have you ever thought about why the ancients called meridians channels of qi? What they left behind is not a superstition, but a deliberately sealed body map, a quantum circuit map connecting consciousness, emotions, and destiny. If you have recently lost control of your emotions, inexplicably tired, or even a disordered magnetic field, it may not be an external problem, but this set of energy circuits has been disconnected for a long time, but you don't know it at all. The following content will completely change your understanding of the body. Meridians are not a Chinese medicine term, but the vibration interface of your destiny. Chapter 1. Meridians are not ventilation lines, but information networks of consciousness. Have you ever experienced this feeling? You are not sick, but you always feel something is wrong. You have difficulty breathing, low mood, distracted, attention, and even dull thinking, as if you are stuck in an invisible net and cannot move. You try to exercise, meditate, take supplements, and even go to the hospital for a checkup. All indicators are normal, but the problem is not solved. This is not your illusion alone. This is the meridian sending out a distress signal. What is meridian? It has never been exclusive to traditional Chinese medicine. We are taught that meridians are a concept of traditional Chinese medicine, used to ventilate qi and blood, cure insomnia, and dredge pain. But this is just a superficial phenomenon. In Huangdi Neijing, Lingshu, and Nanjing, meridians have never been defined as a fixed treatment method. It has always been described as a root system that connects the qi of heaven and earth and the spirit of man. A non-material energy channel exists in the transition layer between the body and the soul. Does this sound mysterious? But today's quantum biology, neuroenergy science, and even the consciousness field model are gradually verifying these things that the ancients perceived but could not quantify. In 2023, in an experiment at the University of Pittsburgh, scientists used functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, and near-infrared light electroencephalography, FNIRS, to accidentally discover an irregular pulsation band between nerves and muscles. This area happens to completely overlap with the Ren meridian path of traditional Chinese medicine. And this pulsation does not belong to the blood, nerve discharge, or lymphatic system. Scientists temporarily call it unknown. Field frequency channel. Does it sound a bit like something you have heard of? You think meridians are just the paths used when pointing acupoints, but the real meridians are the roadmap for consciousness projection and the bridge between the soul and matter. If meridians are a real information flow structure, why doesn't modern medicine recognize it? Why do most people never really activate their meridian network throughout their lives? These questions are exactly what we're going to unlock next, because once you know how this quantum circuit diagram is constructed, your views on the body, destiny, magnetic field, and even interpersonal relationships will completely change. Chapter 2. Your body is a quantum antenna. You think you're just walking, talking, and eating, but every thought, every breath, and even the intuitive connection between you and others are actually the result of idle energy antenna working. An overlooked fact. Have you ever found that when some people stand next to you, you will immediately feel comfortable, relaxed, and even want to get close? But for some people, even if you don't say a word, you will instinctively stay away, feel oppressed, tired, and even want to escape. This is not a psychology or personality problem. This is the collision of magnetic field information, and the center of the receiving and transmitting frequency is the antenna network formed by the Meridian system. Meridian antenna. It sounds like metaphysics, but science is now verifying it. In a neural resonance experiment conducted by the University of London in 2021, it was found that there is an extremely fine longitudinal energy conduction grid under the human skin. It does not belong to nerves or fascia, but it can produce directional resonance when the consciousness is focused. When the researchers tested it, they unexpectedly captured tiny but clear longitudinal vibration waves. When these vibration waves appeared, the testers were doing breathing, meditation, and this vibration wave path just happened to overlap with the position of the due meridian. This is not a theory of traditional Chinese medicine, but real quantum resonance experimental data. Its conclusion is, when the human body is focused or emotionally focused, it will generate non-thermodynamic microfrequency signals in specific circuits. In plain words, your consciousness can activate the circuits in the body. These circuits will emit invisible but measurable energy waves, just like antennas, transmitting and receiving information to the outside. But most people's meridian network is dormant. Why? Because we have been treating our bodies in the wrong way since childhood, eating frequency-suppressing foods, enduring interrupted emotions, suppressing instinctive movements, and even completely ignoring the body's natural rhythm. The result is, the antenna is rusted, broken, and short-circuited. You can no longer receive intuition. You don't know what your body is reminding you. You think you're just tired, but in fact, you are disconnected from your own frequency. So how can we reawaken these antennas? How can we make the body become the vessel that receives cosmic information again? The answer is actually hidden in the true meaning of a seriously misunderstood word: QI. Chapter 3. Qi is not air, but the code of the flow of consciousness. You must have heard of regulating qi, moving qi, and nourishing qi countless times. In Tai Chi, acupuncture, yoga, meditation, and Qigong, almost all systems revolve around one word: qi. But this qi is not oxygen, not the air we breathe, and not simply energy. It is actually a state of consciousness running through the body. What is the real qi? We can understand it this way: QI, kinetic energy of consciousness, plus charge of emotion, plus conduction path of the body. It is like a feeling electric current, flowing freely or blocked in the quantum circuit diagram of meridians. The ancients used qi to describe this flow state because they did not have the concept of frequency and field, but they felt it through their bodies. When emotions are unobstructed, breathing is natural, and thoughts are stable, the body is hot, loose, and flowing. When anxiety, fear, depression, and weakness occur, the body is cold, tight, and stiff. Have you ever had it? At a certain moment, when emotions come, the stomach begins to tighten, the throat is blocked, and the back is cold. It's not the emotions that are causing trouble, but the qi is stuck. Scientific verification evidence. In 2022, a study published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience, researchers found that emotional fluctuations can cause low-frequency fluctuation interference in the vagus nerve-gut axis and transmit to the limbs along specific muscle fascia groups. What does this mean? Emotion, directional frequency shock. Muscle, medium for the conduction of emotional waves. Meridians, highway for emotional flow. The ancients called qi stagnation, and qi chaos. In today's terminology, it is actually neuroemotional muscle interaction disorder. The QI of the meridians is not an abstract and mysterious aura, but a frequency fluctuation of consciousness that can be transmitted along the myofascia, tissue fluid, and nerve regulation levels. But the problem is that the operation of this QI requires your body to maintain feeling ability. But what happened to our bodies today? Eating off-frequency food facing information overload every day. Even breathing is compressed chest breathing. We have never really lived in the body. As a result, many people can't even feel where the QI is stuck. It's not that the QI doesn't exist, but that you have lost the ability to sense it. So how can we regain this ability to sense the QI? Can we really reactivate this set of quantum circuits by movement or breathing? Next, you will see a set of restart methods used by ancient awakeners and reconfirmed by modern neuroscience. Chapter 4. What did the ancients rely on to activate the meridians? A forgotten micro-movement language, you may think that only meditation, exercises, or acupuncture can open the meridians. But the real advanced meridian activation technique has never been strenuous exercise. It's micro-movement plus consciousness, focus plus continuous breathing. The ancients called it quietness in movement, communication in stillness. In Huangdi Neijing Suen, there is a very mysterious sentence. Movement makes the qi flow, and movement makes the spirit clear. It means when the body moves in the right way, the qi will flow, and when the qi flows, the consciousness will be illuminated. This sentence has been misinterpreted as more exercise is healthy from ancient times to the present. But in fact, movement is not a sweaty exercise, but refers to an extremely delicate energy traction movement, such as spiral shoulder rotation, slight pelvic swing, still eyeballs, slightly open knuckles, etc. In 2018, a study published by the Human Biofrequency Research Institute of the University of Tokyo pointed out, low-amplitude joint movements under a specific breathing rhythm can stimulate 0.1-0.3 Hz frequency waves in specific areas of the body and spread along a specific route to the central axis. This frequency band is exactly the intersection frequency of vagus nerve rhythm plus pineal gland rhythm. In other words, you think you are gently moving your body, but in fact you are activating a whole consciousness quantum channel. How? Did the ancients design these movements? Take Taoism as an example. The movements in 5 animal play, 8 section brocade and inner alchemy are almost all centered around one thing. Pull the meridian switches and activate the internal energy flow. For example, bow drawing pose activates lung, meridian and pericardium meridian, improves oxygen field sensitivity. Tiger pounce pose unlocks lumbar sacral region, opens Ren channel, hold the breath, adjusts thumb-heart energy circuit, connects thymus awareness layer. These movements are simple on the surface, but if the consciousness is not in place, the breathing is not coherent, and the intention is not focused, you do it 1,000 times. It is equivalent to ineffective. But the most difficult thing for modern people to do is consciousness focus. We live in a highly fragmented frequency environment. Slide the phone, frequency jump, anxiety state, breathing compression. Emotional fluctuations, meridian short circuit. The result is, even if you are doing Qigong, your body cannot be powered. This is the bottleneck area that most spiritual practitioners fall into, practicing a lot, but still not feeling a breakthrough. Is there a set of methods that can help you recalibrate your body rhythm and truly activate the meridian antenna so that qi can be sensed, controlled, and guided by you again? The answer is hidden in the body map that you have never noticed. It is not a physiological anatomy map, nor a yoga chakra map, but a connecting the brain, bones, and nerves, ancient decoding map of quantum frequency. Chapter 5. How did the ancients draw this quantum circuit map? Have you ever thought about a question? Why were the ancients able to draw a meridian map that is highly consistent with today's nerves, fascia, and frequency resonance in an era without MRI, X-rays, and quantum measuring instruments. This is not a coincidence. This is an extreme expression of conscious perception. In the Meridian chapter of Huangdi Neijing, an extremely mysterious way of observation is mentioned. Observe the color and press the pulse to communicate with the spirit, and know the Qi. What does it mean? The ancients could actually deduce a complete set of internal aerodynamic patterns and energy flow paths by observing people's complexions, finger pulses, and combining them with the flow of breathing and breath. And what they relied on was not instruments or data, but the inner perception after entering a state of tranquility. That is, after extreme concentration, stable breathing, and brain waves dropping to alpha or theta waves, they can see the flow and blockage points of energy in the body. You can understand it as a biological scan of spiritual induction. They call this ability, it is called insight, and we call it consciousness projection perception today. How does modern science approach this ability? In 2020, an experiment at Stanford University in California found that in deep meditators, the gamma waves around the pineal gland are abnormally active and will trigger a series of local tissue microvibrations, which can affect the release path of neurotransmitters. In short, meditation, concentration of consciousness, brain, area vibration, neural network adjustment, body resonance path reorganization. This is almost exactly the same as the ancients' idea of looking into the pulse and leading the QI with intention. Let's look at the drawing logic of the ancient meridian map. The traditional meridian map is not an anatomical drawing, but through hundreds of clinical perception records, it is marked with dots and lines. Which point is numb when the emotion is suppressed? Which line is hot when sad? Which muscle automatically relaxes when you are happy? They use the linkage map of the body and consciousness, not simple organ coordinates. But today's problem is we have lost this in-body vision. We rely on equipment, drugs, and nutrients. We never ask, does the body really need these? Or is it just desperately trying to find the original frequency line? This leads us to run the wrong map, repairing the body according to modern physiological and anatomical diagrams. But the result is often a temporary solution, or even more chaos. If the quantum line map of the ancients is our real frequency navigation map, how can we read it again? Is there a set of reconnecting Meridian's quantum consciousness tools to make this map light up in your body? The answer is in the next chapter. We will reveal how to activate this map in your body by yourself and take the first step to light it up. Chapter 6. The first step to light up the quantum circuit diagram is to regain the frequency sense of the body. You may have been looking for ways. How to activate the meridians, how to activate the sense of Qi, how to restore spiritual awareness. But the ancients would not give you a complicated formula. They would only tell you 4 words: awareness of frequency. Yes, the first step is not action, meditation, or food conditioning, but refeeling the tiny vibrations in your body that you have ignored. A female healer who was diagnosed with systemic chronic fatigue syndrome completely gave up Western medicine treatment and began to learn breathing in silence from a Taoist inheritor. In the first 3 months, she did not learn anything, but was only asked to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, sit on the ground, and focus on the soles of the feet, the palms, and the dantian. She spent 30 days in pain and felt almost nothing. Until one day, when the morning light shone into the room, she suddenly felt a slight tingling sensation in her palm, like a line slowly extending from the palm to the elbow, shoulder, and back. From that day on, the long closed circuit in her body seemed to be lit up little by little. A few months later, she was completely free of years of illness. This experience of feeling the current flowing in the body was called ki feeling into the veins in ancient times. You don't create the ki feeling, but you realize that it is always there. Today's neuroscience also gives an explanation. In a state of deep relaxation, the sensory neurons in the skin and deep fascia will be awakened again, and they are the so-called sensing acupoints in the meridians. What do you need to do to activate this quantum circuit map? Just 3 things. Fix the consciousness anchor point to find your soles, palms, dantian, perineum, yin-tang. Focus on these points, just like projecting light on a map in the dark. Adjust the breathing band. Change the fast-paced, shallow breathing. Practice the long wave breathing of 3 seconds inhalation and 6 seconds exhalation, and let the air flow in the river channel in your body. Slow down the rhythm of the movements. Every movement is like a slow motion, so that the body's fine-tuning can drive the synchronization of nerves and consciousness. But almost everyone will give up at the first step. Why? Because the modern brain has long been accustomed to the stimulation of high-frequency information. When it is quiet, it will be anxious. When it breathes slowly, it will feel uneasy. When it starts to perceive, it can't feel anything, so it doubts that it can't do it. This is a typical manifestation of frequency disconnection. You think you can't do it, but in fact you have never really lived in your body. So is there a way to allow us to overcome anxiety and doubt and quickly enter the frequency sensing state? Is there a frequency tuning tool that allows the body to activate the quantum map in a few minutes? Chapter 7. Triggering techniques to awaken the quantum circuit diagram in your body. Your body can be electrified. Have you ever had this moment? Suddenly felt your back getting hot and a current running from your spine to the top of your head? Before meditation or falling asleep, your fingers felt slightly numb, as if there were electric waves flowing. When you listen to a certain music or read a certain sentence, you get goosebumps all over your body. These are not hallucinations. These are the quantum frequency nodes of your body, which are briefly connected. What you need to learn now is not how to turn it on by force, but how to create conditions to make it light up by itself. In a secluded valley in Tibet, a Tibetan tantric practitioner once taught his disciples, "You don't need to open any energy, just remove the shell that blocks its flow." This shell in our daily life is unconscious muscle tension, habitual breath holding, overexertion of thoughts, emotional high-frequency interference. The disciple asked him, "How can I remove these?" He said 4 words: relax, sink, close, and listen. Triggering technique. Detailed explanation, I. These 4 words are the original form of ancient quantum frequency tuning. 1. Relax. It is not to relax the whole body, but to relax the should-be-relaxed places. For example, the back of the neck, shoulder blades, coccyx, armpits. These are airlocks. Loosen them and the frequency can discharge. 2. Sink. The consciousness deep into the body. Not floating in the head, not flying in the thoughts. Dantian is the frequency tuning anchor point. When you focus on Dantian, the spirit will not disperse. 3. Unite, align your intention, ki, and form. Think about one thing, do one thing, feel one thing, all in one. That is ki sense activation. Listen, closing. Your eyes is not darkness but silence. Use your ears to reverse the body and turn your attention to the detector inside the body. And you will hear the sound of blood flow, the slight sound of nerves, and even the resonance of pulse and space. A study published in Neuroscience Letters in 2021 pointed out, in the process of listening to the inner senses, the brain of trained meditators will produce enhanced synchronous brainwave responses, especially between the frontal lobe and the limbic system, and an enhanced AG coupling mode will appear. This shows that once you turn your attention from the external world to the inside of the body, a series of frequency modulation response mechanisms in the brain will be activated. These mechanisms are the core physiological basis of the ancients' adjustment of QE into the meridians. You can try this triggering technique starting tonight. Simple version of the exercise. Find a quiet space and sit well. Focus on dantian, 3 fingers below the navel. Inhale slowly and count to 3 beats. Exhale slowly and count to 6 beats. Close your eyes and listen to your palms, soles of feet and lower back. Don't think or do anything, just listen. Within 5 minutes you may start to feel local heat or itching. Limbs automatically produce subtle peristalsis. Heartbeat slows down and brain waves decrease. Don't be surprised. That's because your body's quantum circuit begins to connect. But many people fail at this time because of a thought. Did I do something wrong? Why can't I feel it? I don't have the key feeling that others say, am I not talented? Please remember, it's not that you don't have the sense, but that you are too used to blocking it. What you need to do is not do better, but do less. If you can tune for only 10 minutes a day, will the meridian system re-establish its response to your consciousness? Is your body waiting for you to come home? Chapter 8. When the meridians are truly energized, your dialogue with the universe begins. You may think, when the meridians are unblocked, at most the body will be healthier and the complexion will be better. But this is actually only the most superficial change. What is really important is, when this quantum circuit diagram is activated, your consciousness will be reconnected to a larger energy network. The ancients called it the unity of heaven, earth and man, and modern spiritual scholars call it the intervention of multidimensional consciousness field. In the mountains of Kathmandu, Nepal, there is a hermit who is over 70 years old. He is penniless, but he taps the pulses of pilgrims who go up the mountain every day, according to a traveler who has experienced it. He only used 1 finger to gently press on my wrist, and I felt a strong electric wave from the coccyx through the spine, straight to the center of the eyebrows, and then I saw a picture I had never seen before. At that moment, she began to believe. The body is not just a collection of organs and bones, but a huge receiver waiting for a rewiring from the universe. The second-level function of meridians. The first-level function is to regulate qi and blood, we all know this. But what is really overlooked is the second-level function is to serve as a bridge between consciousness and the information field of higher dimensions. As the theory of non-local entanglement in quantum physics says, when 2 systems have the same frequency, they can exchange information without contact. The meridians are the most stable frequency channels in your body. They are parallel to the nervous system and can transcend the material level to become a bridge connecting consciousness and the original field of the universe. According to the cross-validation of many spiritual mentors and inner cultivation systems, after the meridians are activated, the following 3 frequency centers will be activated first. Dantian, energy core, energy storage center, which determines whether you have the power to cross the frequency level. Thymus, soul imprint. Many spiritual practice systems believe that the thymus records the soul code and activating it will awaken your original vision. The pineal gland, consciousness receiver, is called the eye of the soul and receives the particle information of the cosmic frequency. It is the key interface for downloading high-dimensional guidance. The passage between these 3 is the most secret upper, middle, and lower 3 burner channels in the meridian system. deepening conflict. Why do most people fail to activate? You may have tried many things, meditation, yoga, sitting, breathing method, but you always think, why can't I stay connected? This is because you started, but there is no stable power supply. Your energy center, dantian, may still be weak. Your heart, thymus, may not be really open. And your brain, pineal gland, is subject to long-term interference from information noise and dietary toxins. It's like connecting to a cosmic radio station, but the battery is not installed, the frequency band is not adjusted, and there is an ideal interference antenna. If you can clean up these three energy centers again, can you really stay connected and turn your body into a receiving station for the cosmic energy field? Is the unity of man and nature mentioned by the ancients the return to the network at the quantum level? Chapter 9. Why do you occasionally awaken but always lose connection? How did the ancients maintain the stability of quantum connections? Have you ever experienced feeling the flow of energy during meditation, but completely losing the feeling a few days later? A spiritual peak experience, as if going home, but then getting farther and farther away? Suddenly understanding the truth of life, but then being swallowed up by trivial matters? This state is called spiritual disconnect syndrome by modern people, and the ancients had a saying to describe it. When the Tao is about to leave, the signs must appear first. That is to say, before each frequency is disconnected, the body has already given a signal. In the classic Taoist medicine book, Huangting Jingzhu of the Song dynasty, there was a record of a Taoist practitioner who felt his spirit was away after 3 months of qi circulation. He felt strong qi and inspiration for a period of time, but suddenly lost control. His body became heavy and his mind was floating. He went to ask his master, and the master only said one sentence: "You cultivate qi, not life." This means that he activated the qi field but did not stabilize the lifeline. That is, the antenna is there, but it is not grounded. And this history is still repeated today. The real reason for the loss of connection, frequency overload, Powell's lack of anchor point, you are not connected to the frequency. You are now short-circuited. Because you try to connect to a cosmic channel that is several times or dozens of times higher than the frequency you are used to, but the body is still used to a heavy material diet. Emotions are still immersed in low-frequency resonance. Brain waves are still in anxiety, fear, and habitual information noise. At this time, even if there is a connection, it will burst instantly and then go out. How did the ancients stabilize the frequency? The ancients emphasized 2 words the most: keep simple. It is not to become dull, but to keep the body consistent with the natural rhythm, not to force a breakthrough, but to stabilize the basic frequency at each level. How do they do it? After activating the meridians with food, grounding, you must eat balanced food, otherwise the body frequency will float and there will be no roots. Using daily life to calibrate the biological clock and work at sunrise and rest at sunset is not a retro sentiment, but the secret of synchronizing with the Earth's magnetic field. Use rituals to refresh the connection, and do a simple ritual of connecting heaven, earth, and man every day. Standing, breathing, gratitude, purification. These seemingly ancient actions are actually executing a hidden quantum protocol, retuning, clearing cache, and steady-state operation. But the most common mistake made by modern people is being greedy for speed. They hope to open all chakras with one meditation, hope to activate the pineal gland with a breathing method, and hope to achieve multi-dimensional consciousness transformation in just a few days. The result is awakening, explosion, collapse, zero. And truly high-frequency and stable individuals never pursue explosion. All they do is Every day, a little bit. Turn yourself into a container that can carry high frequency. Chapter 10. The real secret of meridians. It is not used to treat diseases, but to reconnect the universe mother. You have never been told this sentence in full. Meridian is not just a healthy channel, it is a way home. This road has been there since you were born, but with growth, diet, society, education, and pressure, you gradually lost this map. You are alive, but disconnected. You work hard, but lost. The real awakening starts with finding the cosmic navigation system in the body. In a lost manuscript before the Common Era, Lingbao Bifa records, the human heart is not aware, the Tao is hidden in the veins. Once the spirit moves, all things will follow. This passage means when a person's consciousness begins to flow back to the body, his meridians will become energy nodes in the interstellar network, and each meridian is connected to a different frequency channel of the universe. You are not the you in the body. You are the flame of consciousness projected by the universe through the body. This is why the ancients could judge celestial phenomena and deduce life and death by a pulse. The body of a monk can glow, and the bones can emit strange fragrance when he is in seclusion. Practitioners can receive non-human information flow in the resonance of meridians because their bodies are not physical machines, but spiritual receivers. Western science begins to approach Eastern wisdom, according to a research report. In Nature Neuroscience in 2022, there is an unclassified perceptual network in the human body. It is neither the nervous system nor the lymphatic system, but it degrades under stress and is active in meditation, deep rest, and conscious breathing. Researchers call it Responsive Intracorporeal Communication Pathway, RICP. Internal. Responsive Communication Pathway. The ancient East named it Meridian. When modern science finally approaches, the ancient knowledge is being reawakened.